I can't see my video on the screen like yesterday. But yesterday I could see on the screen also, computer. Okay. So today we're getting started. I have chosen 6 themes today. Multiple areas from the economy. It's both domestic and global. So the first theme I have chosen is skill program. See, these days, everyone is excited, worried, panicking, looking forward to everything about the new frontiers of technology, be it robotics, mechatronics, industrial revolution 4.0, and of course, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep machine learning. These are the skills of today, tomorrow. We don't know about the day after tomorrow. So, we need to skill our young people into this. Papad making, achar, tailoring, carpentry, plumbing, repairing a refrigerator, a mobile phone repair. All that is okay, but there is no challenge there. They are all routinized. The challenge lies in dealing with the cutting edge technologies, nano. And of course, the foundational is coding and all that. So, what are we doing about skilling our youngsters, our children into these areas, frontier areas of the technology? So, to understand that, we need to go back to 2014. 2014. That's when the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, it was created. And soon after, in 2015, you had the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Remember, this had its original roots in the 6th five-year plan, training rural youth for self-employment. That was the embryonic form. From there, it kept on evolving, and today what we have is this. So, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, skill development program. It has evolved. The latest version is 4.0. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So you have to skill our people for them to find a place productively, beneficially in the economy with skills. We used to call it vocational education. At what level you vocationalize the education, 8 or 10 or 11 or 12 or post 12, all that. ITIs, Industrial Technical Institutes. Now, so you started this in 15, but you recall in 2014, you had huge program unveiled, Make in India. So you started this in 14. Right after that, it became 2.0. Initially, you started the skill development program like a normal program for the given conventional skills. But then you launched your Make in India, 2014. You launched your Digital India, Swachh Bharat. All these schemes, you required workers. Workers means the skilled people. No one comes out of the college fully skilled unless it's a vocational college. You study history, even if you study engineering, you're not fully employable right away. Once you come out, you need to be trained and all that. For that, you already got skills, we'll recognize them, we'll certify them. Don't have skills, we'll give you skills and certificate. That's the whole exercise. So in 2015, you got into this. 2016 actually, you got into 2.0. Skilling the youngsters to fit them into the economy as it was developing with schemes like Make in India, Digital in Make in India is a historic intervention to boost your manufacturing. 25% of the GDP you want your manufacturing to contribute. You want to employ there and whatnot. So you require skilling places for that. You need to tie up academia, industry. You need to tie up with the intervention of the government. So you did that, that is 2.0. 3.0, you launched it 2019. That's when, right after that, you had the COVID and all that. So it was essentially centered around health. And now this year, our finance minister in the union budget 23-24. Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0 was announced. You see now it evolved, skills after all. Now what was the thrust of it? Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0. Train the youth for the Amrit Kal. Generally I don't use the word Amrit Kal, because that's getting into the dictionary just now. Training the youth for the present and the future. You're not training them for 25 years after all. The way the technology is changing, you can't train anyone for the rest of his life. You can put him into the economy at the cutting edge level for a few years. After that, expect the technology to change again. So, you've got 4.0. So what is this 4.0 about? All that I told you, in India, like everywhere else in the world, AI is gripping us. Machine learning gripping us. Robotics, industrial revolution 4.0 after the internet. You know what they say? Digital, physical and digital. So you want to train lakhs of youth over the next few years on these lines. That is the Kaushal Vikas. Why? Because the success of these technologies depends upon the skills. Today I've read in the paper, cyber security is a huge area because the whole economy is turning, society is turning digital. So cyber criminals are lurking somewhere, everywhere. You need engineers to be trained to beat back the cyber criminals. Where are the skilled people? Who trained them? Can we afford not to train them? Can we afford the skill gap? Most worryingly, what we have read in the papers today, some paper, we are ready to employ people from outside the country. We have so many people, demographic advantage we have, youth bulge we have. We should be able to supply the human capital to the rest of the world. But that was the most worrying part, that the companies are looking to hire, engineers for cyber security. Whether they are available or in India or not, you will check first. If they are not, you will look out to hire them. So that is when the importance of 4.0, the Kaushal Vikas program, becomes relevant. Whether it is biotechnology, primarily artificial intelligence, cyber security, Yesterday we talked about the RBI and CBDC and all that. You require lakhs of engineers for that. Lakhs of people who are trained in the digital skills for that. AI, the way AI is galloping into our world, we have not seen anything like this before. So, you require the Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas Yojana critically for in that background. So, I want you to see this. You know, so Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 2015. Right after that, in 16, you had the second version that was about Make in India, Digital, Swachh Bharat, etc. Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. That was during the, just before your COVID. And 3.0 was launched and implemented between 20 and 22. It wasn't launched as a part of the intervention to neutralize the impact of COVID. No. But then it came handy and bottom-up technique. Not you design something and thrust it on the youth. Let the youth ask for courses which are relevant to them. What's the point of training them and leaving them in the market with nobody looking for them for either employment or they having any opportunity for self-employment? So you have to train them for the skills in demand in the market. And as a part of your 3.0, you had the district skill committees were formed. Tailored crash course plan for COVID warriors. After all, COVID required so many volunteers and skilled people for all the medical work and, so much of work related to tackling various problems, about disposal of the medical waste and so on and so forth. Even law and order. So COVID warriors were health workers basically, alerting people about the dangers of COVID and maybe, inject some vaccine, etc., etc., all around health. So that was 3.0. So it did its work. Now we are into 4.0. Some of the websites say that this 4.0 is between 22 and 26. But we know the Honorable Finance Minister said it is for, between 23 and 26. That is 3 years. But that's okay. That is absolutely inessential. It doesn't matter. What matters is it's a thrust. What matters is it is aligned with the National Education Policy 2020. That's what you need to understand. 4.0, all this is a description I told you. Robotics, mechatronics, Internet of Things, 3D printing, drones. Look out for drones, soft skills, AI is okay. But then beyond the AI, all around the AI, you've got human skills, emotional, human, relational. That human element is important, otherwise you can't keep speaking. However polite the response of the, ChatGPT may be, it is still a machine, programmed and so on. You require emotional skills. After the boredom with dealing with the machine, you require a person to talk to you, respecting the fact that you are human. You're not a machine. So, soft skills are very important. We are training them. Anger, frustration, depression, violence, all this will have no place in the future society. You have to have soft skills, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, so that we are all one and all. Very, very important. Skill India digital platform. It's all digital. Everything is digital here. What's not digital? Please see, everything is digital here. So, Skill India digital platform, and in this budget there is saturation. 30 Skill India international centers will be set up across different states. Setting up of AI centers, existing educational institutions, etc. International centers. 30 Skill India international centers. International Center, International Center. So this budget had a substantial portion dedicated to the fourth generation skilling around AI, and then all this is AI. International centers are AI. Existing educational institutions also, I think they're going to introduce at the graduation level itself. Otherwise, you'll be caught napping when you complete your graduation. If you have to learn all this after you complete your graduation, you are already behind in the race. So that's about the Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas 4.0, fourth generation. It's been evolving as speedily as technology is evolving. I'm waiting for the 5.0, what it will handle, etc., etc. So that's our encounter with Prime Minister's Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0, and I'm sure you'll excel if this comes in the exam. It can come in general essay also. AI can come anywhere. In ethics, it can come. In essay, it can come. Economics, all these skills and AI. So AI and the impact on women, and are women ready for AI? Is it going to aggravate the differences, gender gaps, or is it going to bridge the gaps? That is another question about gender and the AI. So AI is everywhere, in life, just as in life, in exam as well. Pradhana Mantri Kaushal. That's where our talk, our lecture, our discussion terminates on the Kaushal. 85,000 crores of rupees is what you got by exporting the mobile phones from India. Never heard of anything like this. 85,000 crores of rupees. And you have big plans, lakhs of crores of rupees and all that, from by exporting the smartphones to the world. And there's a huge market in the country. Remember, lakhs of crores of rupees worth of mobile phones are made in India. Of that, I have told you 85,000 crores are being exported after satisfying the domestic demand, because everyone's here. Everyone's here. Apple is here, Samsung is here, Lava, Xiaomi, everyone is here. Vivo, everyone is here. So what is transformed in the Indian ecosystem that you have revolutionized on the mobile front, both in terms of making means production, and also not just for the domestic market, because domestic market is, you have to swallow it, good or bad. Export market is where you are competing. Even if you could export to Africa, that's also wonderful, because even in Africa, everyone's competing. So what happened? What has the government done? What's this miracle we are talking about? The mobile phone, exponential growth. So that is 2, 4, 16, all that. So what happened? Number one is Make in India. I still remember our Prime Minister communicating directly with the world by the, clarion call, come, make in India. That was a wonderful, wonderful, super duper wonderful piece of oratory, whatever you like to call it. Superb, superb. And the world responded, Make in India is about manufacturing. Come, Indians also, let Reliance make it, let Motorola make it, Apple make it. Whoever wants to make it in India in the form of production of goods, manufacturing, come, make in India. We'll do everything for you. Land is of course scarce, that's another thing. But in some states, land acquisition laws allow you to acquire land. Not at the national level. Acquisition is a concurrent subject anyway. So land labor laws, most of the states have made liberal labor laws, higher fire. It suits the multinationals and also the Desi multinationals, labor policy. Taxation also you have downward adjustment, 15%, 25% and all that, comparable to the global rates. So taxation, labor, land, general government interface has become easier, ease of doing business and all that. So Make in India is not merely production of goods as a standalone thing. The whole ecosystem has fallen into place. That was Make in India. Then the government followed it up with phased manufacturing program. Phased manufacturing program. See, after all, you have to make in India. When you say make in India, you have to make in India. So to make in India, you have to give some financial advantage for making in India. Phased manufacturing over a period of time in a graded manner, integrate the locally manufactured ingredients into the final product. That is value addition, and you call it whatever you like, domestic content, local content, whatever you like to call, but that is the meaning of it, that you want to encourage the making of the ingredients within the country, batteries and chargers and displays and what have you. So phased manufacturing, not overnight, phased manufacturing program in a graded manner through certain advantages and incentives, there is encouragement to make in India. That was in 2017 or so. Then comes the mother of them all. Production linked incentive scheme come. For 5 years we got this scheme from 2020. It got kicked off in 2020. And then 2021, okay, we'll say that. From there, 5 years we'll give you. We'll incremental sales. Right now, how much is the production? 100. Make it 150. On the 50, we'll give you advantage. Next year, make it 175. On this 25, we'll give you 6% financial incentives, some tax or interest rate or whatever. So on incremental sales, and also there are certain criteria for employment, etc., etc. So who's come to the country seeing this? You've got Apple that wants to make in India literally 25% of the content, in the near future. Samsung, the largest plant is here in Noida. In Noida they have. And when our Prime Minister was in America, Amazon said, we are coming. Google said, we are coming. And Advanced Materials, they said, we are coming to make chips and all that here. So you've got, and Tesla says, we are also looking at India. So PLI is a major intervention of the government to facilitate investment in India because it carries with it financial incentives for net increase in the sales. Sales are very important, not just making. If you make in India and if you can't sell here or outside, what's the point of making in India? It's a loss-making case. So sell. On sales, we'll give you those incentives. And that is how you've got tens of thousands, Foxconn and all other Taiwanese contract manufacturers. They're all here working for Apple. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Noida is UP. The largest plant of Samsung is in Noida. So this is a huge boost to electronics and all that. Then 4 is, of course, your ease of doing business. And then your roads are good, your power systems are good, your digital technology is good, you've got the talent and all this. Who is going to be ready to miss India? No one. So ease of doing business, talent, and then infrastructure. Nobody steps into a country that doesn't have power systems working well. You've got power, you've got computers, you've got the internet, digital India, roads, rural roads. and you got the GST to unify the country with your fiscal policies, what have you. So with all this, people are bound to come here, and of course, a consumption base of hundreds of millions of people. Everyone is lining up to buy phones. After all, we sleep with our mobile phones. Even in the middle of the night, tap and see. Maybe you're interested in studying. Suddenly in the middle of the night, you would like to know what's going on about, Indo-Russian relations. You would like to, and you would like to know what's going on about blue economy. So, we are all, hundreds of millions of Indians are into the economy, and we would like to have more and more. We would like to work more and more, etc., etc. So, all this is telling on this is a snapshot of what's happening in the country. Mobile phones, the way we are making and exporting. People are saying you're not making in India, you're just assembling in India. That's, you're importing the components and you're putting them together and then you're calling it Make in India. That's not fair, actually. That's not fair. You know why? Today in the business line, there is a lovely, lovely interview with a prof from Japan. He says China started like this. Initially, China was assembling. And in course of about, say, 10-15 years, they started adding 25% of the value by way of making in China. And we are, in a comparable phase. We are assembling, we are also making, and we got the talent. So maybe sooner than China will emerge to make 25% of the value of the mobile phone will be made in India. Then that professor from Japan says, don't protect your inefficient makers in India. Slash your, on the mobile phone import duty, keep it high. But on the components, you keep it low so that you could import it. Once you import it, you can study it. Once you can study it, you can, start making it. So that is how it happens. Initially, we were worried. If you keep the customs duty on, the components low, then when will you ever make the components in the country? So the reconciliation is between not high rate, because you can't import it all and you can't even assemble. Not zero rate, in which case you will never make in India. Keep it somewhere 5, 10, 15, whatever, so that you can import it to assemble in India. Guys will be watching, entrepreneurs will be watching. They'll also try to make it in India, and so on and so forth. So in the current budget, you slash the duties on the components, like all your displays and charges, etc., etc. So this is not a story that you can write off. Big boys of the world won't come into your country unless they see tremendous promise. And of course, these are all pull factors. The push factor, of course, is China is no longer cheap. China no longer is safe. And therefore, don't put all the eggs in one basket. Diversify. I've read today somewhere, maybe Financial Express, I've read today, 60% of what Samsung makes in Vietnam. Vietnam exports are crazy numbers, all these electronics and mobile phones. We'll get there. That's because they are a dictatorship and all that. So, the story of the mobile phones is a part of the general story of India's economic growth. That is what the world is saying. That's what the world is saying. So that's about the explanation for the mobile phones and all that. More than 200 companies are there dealing in the mobile phone parts or mobile phones as such in India. 200, more than 200. You'll get the exact number somewhere here. 260 units. 10 billion, that is 82,000, 83, 85,000 you exported. Apple's Make in India smartphones, smartphone, Apple phone, turn it around, you'll see made in India, made in India. It's a huge boost to your confidence. We have always been confident. Indians have never been underconfident about intellect. We are the people made of intellect. But still, seeing Made in India at the back of the Apple phone is a huge, kicker for your vanity, confidence, what have you. 2,75,000 is the value of the mobile phones that you produce within the country, of which 85, 1,90,000 is what you consumed within your own country. And so I told you about the cameras and, camera lens, etc. Customs duty of 2.5% on the import. 2.5% is nothing. And the quicker our young guys in the country learn the story of making the inputs within the country, the more fruitful this cut is. Otherwise, there'll be a dumping in the country and there's no escape from there. So, these are all games that you play pretty quickly. So we need to grab this advantage. The government is doing everything for input cost reduced. Deepen the value addition, you have to do it because you have the competition. Promote export competitiveness, etc. Domestic manufacturing. Factors that led to ACE. What got you to ACE this? One, of course, is the China thing. Wherever you go, artificial intelligence will come, China will come. So, China plus strategy is number one, but that should not be said first. Okay, I said it here because that stands alone, but that should not be said first. What should be said first is this: Make in India. PMP could come, PMP could separately come, be it electric vehicles or pharmaceuticals, everywhere. Graded incorporation of domestic ingredients into the product by a set of incentives. Is it WTO compliant, etc.? Who cares? Where is WTO? Where are the judges? All the seats are empty. No judges. Whom will you appeal to? You see, when our Prime Minister went to the USA, we told the USA, let's sort out the problems, trade problems between you and us outside the WTO, out of WTO settlement and all that. So don't talk of WTO. Nobody is talking of WTO. We'll talk of WTO while criticizing America. We'll not talk of WTO to criticize ourselves. So PMP. Production linked incentive, PLI. This is a big boost. We're going to give you, incremental sales. I told you from here to here on this part. From here to here on this part, not on this part. So growing infrastructure, talent. The latent talent in India is absolutely amazing. Almost any youngster in India is potentially a artificial intelligence engineer. Invest in him 2 months or 3 months of training and he'll surprise you very pleasantly. Ease of doing, etc., etc. All these reasons are added up to explain why we are a miracle in the smart home strategy. This is your USD 30 billion. 126 billion. You want to go there by 25-26 through PLI scheme, you could go there. If the tide turns in a bigger way away from China, if the world comes to know that we can do business with India for, decades and centuries together, then you really can't stop the deluge of capital into the country. Capital, talent, entrepreneurship. It's possible that we are at the cusp of that. Domestic market, who will overlook India's domestic market? So there is pull factor from within the country. There is push factor from outside, and the two are adding up very nicely. All these are the people, Oppo, Vivo, Lava, all these people. Critics are here. I have dealt with the critics. With all the respect for the critics, because without critics you will never improve. Critics undo everything. We need to listen to criticism based on that. We need to improvise so that we have best of both the worlds. That's about the mobile story. Then there is blue economy. Crucial component to the larger economy of India that is on the road of sustainable growth. Elaborate. Blue economy. Blue economy, blue is the color of the ocean, so you call it blue economy, but actually you're trying for green economy, which is, see what's blue economy? Blue economy is using the biotic and abiotic resources of the ocean, the sea, the coast in a sustainable manner for economic growth, meeting the livelihood demands, jobs, what have you. But here the blue and green both are important. You never, fool with just blue. Blue and green. Green means sustainable. Blue means ocean. Biotic, that is all your fish and other biotic resources. And abiotic, that is the physical resources like polymetallic nodules in the seabed, bottom of the ocean. You've got the nickel and cobalt and copper, etc. Polymetallic nodules. And I must tell you, 1982 Law of the Sea. United Nations Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Law of the Sea. And recently, about 15 years back, the Seabed Authority told India, we give you the recognition of the pioneer investor status. Go into the central part of the Indian Ocean with all your technology. Explore for the PMNs, polymetallic nodules, and then use it. So now, we all have ocean is full of plastic, fish are dying, ocean is warming up, it could be flooding us, that's because glaciers are melting and heat is also expanding the ocean waters, what have you. In the middle of all this, the good news is blue economy. India is in the forefront. So we know what is blue economy. So, sustainable development goals are there, 17 of them. What is 14? 14 is taking care of life underwater. We need to take care of that. What was the Geneva Ministerial Conference last year about of the WTO? Protect the fish in the international waters. It's getting depleted. You have huge, these fishing vessels exploiting them to a point of no return. So SDG 14 is about having to take care of the life underwater. And what is India doing? We have Matsya Sampada, all that, point number one. Separate Department of Fisheries, number two. Remember, 2 years back, you've got Deep Ocean Mission. You launched it, Ministry of Earth Sciences launched it. It has lots of goals like you develop the technologies, you create awareness, and then you make use of the resources of the ocean sustainably, and what have you, all this. So, how many states in the country are coastal states? 9. What is your coastline worth? 7.5 kilometers. 7.5 thousand kilometers. You've got 12 nautical miles of territorial sea, 200 nautical miles of exclusive economic zone. You could exploit all the resources in your EEZ. We've got the technology, we have proven it also. Now, what is the strategy? Do you have a policy? You don't have a policy. You have a strategy, you're a pioneer investor, and you've got Sagarmala. Sagarmala, that is port development, marine development, port development. build a lot of ports, and that will help you for your trade facilitation and all that. So, Sagarmala is an important part. Matsya Sampada is an important part. Deep Ocean Mission is an important part. That is how you are navigating. And of course, pioneer, investor. And sustainability is everything here. What about your foreign policy? Are you taking up blue economy at the foreign policy level also? Of course. Remember 2012 Rio plus 20. In that you took up blue economy. Indian Ocean rim countries. They are saying we are all on the rim and we could submerge any time, and we need you to, opt for sustainable development of ocean resources for our economic growth as well as for our, future security. Indian Ocean rim countries, IORC. And then, you are also exploring this with your friends like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, also ASEAN countries. They're all marine states, coastal states, etc. So at the foreign policy level, and last year you signed a deal with France about the blue economy and ocean governance. France, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, and then you've got ASEAN, you've got the UN. So your foreign policy is about blue economy. And also you got the Sagar also, security and this thing for all in the region. Security and growth for all in the region. Sagar, what is that? Growth, blue. Sagar Mala, Sagar, all this is for blue economy. We don't have a policy yet. But then what are the challenges here? Challenges are involve the local people. We have an extensive fisherman community, and they know everything about how to nurture the resources in a sustainable manner. Involve them, point number one. And point number two is ensure that all your blue economy policies are compatible with sustainability, so that the climate change and its impact is also taken care of. That is about the blue economy, and $24 trillion is the worth of the resources in the ocean. That's an estimate of the UN. And we need to, and another part of the deep ocean mission is desalination. After all, we are not worried about water because there is so much of ocean water, and I told you 200 nautical miles and all that. Desalination technique as of now is not commercially viable, but Deep Ocean Mission also has this as a part of its agenda, that it needs to draw water from the sea, desalination, etc., etc. That's about the blue economy. There are so many points about the blue economy. All of them are usable according to the demand of the question. But if you forget writing sustainability in the use of the ocean resources, then it's not blue economy, it's something else. It's merely economy. Blue for ocean, green, sustainable use of the ocean resources. Any resource you may talk about, especially the biotic stuff. And on that depends, your coastal, etc. On that depends, you can talk of Mishti, the mangrove program, all that. You can talk the way you will talk. This is the raw material to create an answer for a question on the blue economy. And the International Seabed Authority chairperson came to India. With France, we struck a deal last year. And when a new minister for earth sciences took over, he wrote a lovely article about the blue economy to tap into the ocean resources. Plus, the government is formulating a blue economy policy that could come out maybe next month, maybe the month after that. So with all this, we need to keep an eye on the blue economy. And that's the reason why I picked this up for focused analysis. Now you look at the health of the ocean ecosystem. These are the regular noises. Optimal utilization. Living, non-living, biotic. Tourism also. Ocean energy, all that Visinjum, etc. You create ocean, some thermal, the difference in the temperature. From there, you could create some energy, etc. So, blue resources are ocean resources. And it's in the other side of blue here is green, without which there is no blue here. It will be red, like we have reduced or reversed. So blue and green, two sides of the same coin here. Single coin of the blue economy. Seafood harvesting, you mentioned all this. Extraction and use of non-living, that is polymetallic nodules, oil and gas. Renewable energy, offshore wind, commerce, trade, etc., etc. But remember one thing. In case you by mistake mention maritime security, the game is up. Why? Blue economy, explicitly it is said that it doesn't cover maritime security. So by habit, if you use taking chances, don't take this chance. Why? Because it'll blow up on our face, because blue economy explicitly excludes reference to maritime security. That's as clear as that. So nowhere here you will find maritime security. So the number of ports you have, 12 major ports, this much is the cargo you're handling, 7.5 thousand kilometers, 9 of its 28 states are coastal, 1300, 1400 almost. Islands that you have, imagine how much is the territorial sea, how much is the EEZ, and that much resource is waiting to be tapped into. And that is how you understand why is everyone after India, etc. That's because we've got too much of potential. And Central Indian Ocean, of course, you were allocated by International Seabed Authority, all that. And this you may mention, Vision of India by 2030 exclusively has a reference to blue economy as 10 core dimensions of growth. And then EZ, you have to talk about it. And then territorial sea, you have to talk about it. 4 million fisher folk, coastal communities we have. They are our lifeline. Without them, if you go about, then you are being so presumptuous, such egoistic people that the policy can never succeed. Just like forest conservation cannot succeed without tribal people, blue economy cannot succeed without the fisher folk of 4 million people. 4 million people. I'll put them on par with the scientists and administrators of the country in terms of at least the utility value they have for our making of the policy and implementation of the policy. That's why the government put out the blue economy policy for comments. Comments around the 4 million fisher folk would be extremely important. Pradhana Mantri Matsya Sampada, fisher folk. 14th Sustainable Development Goal, that's about life below water. Deep Ocean Mission you need to. And in the prelim, the question can come, which ministry handles this? Earth Sciences. So we need the human capital. You again can't be held gaping like you're being held gaping when we are looking for engineers to deal with cybersecurity. There are none. So tomorrow when you're looking to tap into your blue economy potential, you're looking for people to help you with human capital. If there is nobody, then again, we are looking for guys and there is no one. They are looking for someone. There is no one this side, and these gaps are a huge source of, economic challenges and all that. So that's about the blue economy. I'm sure you picked it. Deep ocean mission. After all, you have to write about 250 words. You have to make the right entries into that. Deep ocean mission, this is that. These are the essential contents of the deep ocean mission. Six, we are told there are six components. You can't be so technical, all the six and all that. Fresh water, you can talk. Energy, you can talk. Exploration of resources, you can talk. Climate, this thing. Technology is important. And deep ocean survey and exploration important. Energy, water important. And then climate change advisory services. Advisory services. All that. Bioprospecting, deep ocean mission can come as a standalone question also. Then I'm sure this will more than do. Blue economy, India's foreign policy. I told you Indian Ocean Rim Association. And 12 is Rio plus 20. Rio plus 20. And then you've got all the Indo-Pacific inevitable, Sagarmala. Then I told you about ASEAN. Plus India, France, so 100% 22, and India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, I told you. And this is a special entry, UN Decade for Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the current decade. And then you are the head of the G20, you better do something about blue economy. You are indeed doing something about blue economy. That's about the blue economy. You may be surprised to see this question. You know why I planted this question in the economic section? See, everyone, a lot of people are criticizing India. We are being protectionist. WTO said roll back your program about the solar energy domestic content requirement. And then when we are saying that the information technology agreement of the WTO, certain aspects of the electronic economy we won't abide by, not imposing any import duty. People are saying, no, you're violating. People dragged us to the WTO. Why only us? Who is following the schemes lie? Nobody is following the WTO laws. So what's the point here? The point is, what is this Inflation Reduction Act? American Congress passed this law number 1. They want to bring down inflation by telling the drug companies you ensure that prescription drugs are affordably priced, number 2. There are some direct tax cuts also so that more money is available for buying goods and services, number 3. All this is okay and the tax administration will be strengthened so that enforcement is more strict. That's also okay. But where is the problem here? The problem is around we will give you tax concessions if you buy electric vehicles made in America. At least 50% of the value addition is in America, North America, that is, Canada, Mexico also. So, you are not giving national treatment. See, what does the WTO say? WTO says that whether goods are made in India or goods are made outside India, both of them have to be given equal status, equal treatment for someone who is purchasing it. I'm running a solar plant. I have to buy solar panel. And I can't differentiate between a local maker and a global maker. Why? Foreign maker. Because I have to give national treatment to all producers, be it domestic or be it foreign. That's a WTO pillar, national treatment. So when you are saying you have to buy American goods if you want a tax concession, then where will the countries where companies are making to export to the world, you're not giving them national treatment. You are having a law against them. Either they have to set up their factory within America or they are losing out. And this is not national treatment. This is not compliant with the WTO. This will only inflate the economy because if you have to, after all, the cost of making in the country could be far higher than the cost of importing. And then you are also saying that any country that is following unfair trade practices, whatever they are, you are free to impose additional import duties on the goods from that country. Imposition of additional import duty. So this is protectionist. This is against WTO, and this breeds inefficiency, and this can set off This can set off trade wars. When you say buy American, I say buy Indian, where is globalization? There is no globalization. There will be trade wars. So trade wars means you raise tariffs on my goods and I raise tariffs on your goods, and neither can export to the other country. Both the economies will suffer. This is going to be the fate of Inflation Reduction Act 22, American economy, and reversal of globalization. I talked about it because I believe this could be important. Even otherwise, we could end up talking about you know, the whole thing about protectionism, globalization, efficiency, trade wars, all of them are a part of this. So that is the story about the Inflation Reduction Act. Please go through this. I hope you are following. This is the simplest it can get. This is as simple as it gets. You know these concepts. I'm trying to weave them together. It'll benefit you. So, buy American is problematic here. Tariffs. America can impose tariffs on the import of goods from countries which are said to be following unfair economic policies, trade policies. But this unfair trade practices, that is open for, interpretation in a very unilateral manner. America calls you unfair and it will impose import duties, and that is not fair. So this is about, it's not WTO compliant. Protectionism, trade wars, trade tensions, etc., etc. Protectionist, stifle innovation. After all, you are saying buy American. Whatever you find in America, you have to buy that for tax concession. And when there is compulsion to buy American goods, whether they're good or bad, because of tax concession, why will America produce goods which are better than the goods made outside? So, these tax concessions to incentivize the purchase of goods made in America, for example, electric vehicles, is going to kill innovation. That is, likely. So that's about the IRA. I hope you understood. You must have understood. Yeah. So you see, Of late, we are signing free trade agreements. Free trade agreements. We signed with Mauritius. We signed with UAE. We signed with Australia. Now, we are talking to UK, we are talking to Canada, we are talking to EU, we are talking to Gulf Cooperation Council, etc. So why are we uh, uh, so enthusiastic about the free trade agreements? The general benefits have always been there, but for about 10 or 15 years, you did not show enthusiasm. You pulled out of RCEP, you didn't get into it, you only negotiated. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, you pulled out of it, means you never entered it. Why are you? But there's China here, there's China. Here, you know why you are doing all this? You are doing all this because, again, it comes to the unreliability of China, point number one. COVID had shown you that you need to diversify, point number two. It was a historic moment for India to grab the opportunities for trade and investment and manufacturing in India, number three. You need to export because there is so much of scope for export and earning foreign currency, point number four. And remember, there is an additional reason. You have Indo-Pacific. You know, Indo-Pacific. You've got your security ties, you know, strategic relations with USA, Japan, ASEAN, and Africa, and so on. So this is very important. India believes that the true strategic relation is one where there is economic and trade cooperation. So, even if you are losing a little bit, don't mind it because you are relating to a country with whom you have a security relationship. Not to say that you have to lose, but the point is try and see that on the trade and economic front you are a winner. And on top of that, your strategic relation also helps you to come closer. That is the reason why you are talking with Gulf Cooperation. You are also talking to, this EU, UK, etc. So you are trying to combine strategy and economics. That is another reason why. And today, how much is your exports together, goods and services? $800 billion. $800 billion. USD. $800 billion. You would like to go into trillions of this, of course, 450 and 450 plus and 275. It's not fully 800, it's about 775 or so. I'll show you the number. So you need your exports, number one, you need your diversification, number two, you need to be a part of the global value chains, number three, so on and so forth. That is why you are showing so much of enthusiasm in signing the free trade agreements. Now you can see all the details here. Mauritius you signed, UAE you signed, ECTA, that is with Australia, you signed. These are the guys you are going to sign with. Trade and investment links and all that. You didn't do too well earlier. You had some protectionist fears. But now you want to have an economy where there is investment, like you have seen Apple and so on. And now you think you are in a better position. You also negotiated with the FTA partners that you would like to shield your agriculture and animal husbandry from imports, and therefore you have learnt your lessons and therefore you are ready. 778. In this, say about 300 would be services and rest is goods. You would like to have like-minded countries, G7. So here, what is the point we are talking about? Geopolitical tensions, of course. You want to have complementing political cooperation with strategic partners with economic engagement. You want to have economic engagement with the strategic partners. That's another reason why you are feeling compelled to have FTAs with the countries who are like-minded. The word like-minded is important here. And so this is about you. Please take another look here. See that you pick up these facts. So that's about the FTAs. Now, I want to talk about. We all know what is crowding out, and from last year we've been hearing the term crowding in, and we've been hearing the term capex also. The question is about what is this capex and crowding in, and there's a new term that has come up: effective capital expenditure. Effective capital expenditure. So, to make it very, very simple, I could say, what is crowding out? When the government borrows excessively from the market, there is not much left for the private sector, and so there is competition for the given amount of credit. That will increase the interest rates. To begin with, there's less money for business. On top of that, what's available is available at a higher rate. So it's a double whammy for the private sector, could kill growth also. That is crowding out. But when you are in a slowdown mode, the government could borrow without hurting the credit needs of the private sector because they are not ready to take the credit. Credit is languishing in the banks. They are not here to take credit, the private sector. Therefore, let the government borrow and invest. And once the government invests, the inputs have to be supplied by the private sector, and also there will be so much of employment, it creates additional demand. So you have crowding in. The government borrowing and spending, classically, the Keynesian style, will create demand for the private sector investment, complementary, and also they'll create jobs so that there'll be more demand. So that is when there's slowdown, recession, etc., you need to crowd in with government borrowing and spending. Crowding out is when the economy is booming and the government should stay out. Effective capital expenditure is, 10 lakh crores is what the government of India in the Union Budget 23-24 has allotted for capital expansion, that is asset building. Over and above that, it has given 3.7 lakh crore as grants in aid to the states, grants in aid. Various central government schemes. Today itself, you've read in the papers all this, whether it is health or education or roads or dams or water, the capital investment in all this, you are giving 3.7 lakh crores to them. So 10 you are spending directly on infrastructure build-up, and 3.7 lakh crore you are giving to the states by way of grants. Add the two, you are arriving at a figure of 13.7 lakh crores exclusively for capital expansion. It's a grant and aid. They have to spend it. You're giving it to them. So that is called effective capital expenditure. If the number that is in the union budget, which is being spent only by the union government, is to be taken 10 lakh. Add to that, states you are giving 3.7. 13.7, that is the effective capital expenditure. So this concept is important. I thought you would like to know this. 10 lakh crore, I told you. Add to that, the states you are giving grants in aid, 3.7. Add that. 3.7 plus 10 is 13.7 lakh crores of rupees. And so, this is what I lined up for you today. I hope you have understood this. I've done my job. So I'm seeing if there are any questions. So, so you see, this is what I had to do. I've done my part, and you could write to the office. They can give you the PDF. It's available. So that's it for tonight. Good night. Yeah. Hello.